Thanks very much, Dave, for the kind introduction. And first thing I'd like to say is, Doug, really great commitments and big objectives. And the Campbell Soup Company is absolutely going to partner with you, continue to partner with you to help you deliver your 2025 commitments. So nice stuff. I want to tell a story today about the Campbell Soup Company, which is a 127-year-old company just across the bridge, as Dave was saying, in Camden, New Jersey. And we're a company that's always known what we're doing, but sometimes is questioned why we do it. And this is a journey that we've been on for the last number of years of rediscovering why we do what we do. And it's really caused an immense amount of change in our company. So the first thing I'd ask you to do is, when you think of the Campbell Soup Company, what comes to mind? Maybe something like this. See, I can read your mind, right? That's tomato soup and a sandwich. Tomato soup is great. Chicken noodle soup, cream of mushroom soup. Those three items are all in the top 10 items of any items in a grocery store. So they're fantastic products. But Campbell Soup Company is more than just soup. Today we look more like this. We got lots of stuff. We're an $8 billion company. We're in 95% of the households in America. We've got products for 6-month-old babies with a leading organic baby food brand, all the way through to however old you are, 95, 97 years old. We've got products right across the spectrum. We organize ourselves in 3 main divisions. Dave was talking about the one that I'm responsible for, which is the red one, which is one of the one with the products you're probably the most familiar with, the soups and the sauces and the V8 juice and so on. The next one, the orange one, is our Global Biscuits and Snacks division, anchored with Pepperidge Farm here in the United States and several other businesses around the world. And then more recently, we've created a scale business in fresh food as we've watched the consumer and where they're migrating and what their preferences are. And we've made a number of acquisitions of companies like Bolthouse Farms and Garden Fresh Gourmet and put together a grouping of fresh foods. So that's a little bit about who we are. Now looking at some of the challenges that we face as the Campbell Soup Company, and no, this is not my favorite magazine article of all time. But this was an article about what is happening in the food industry. And the food industry, like many other industries, is being disrupted by a series of massive changes. With the changes that are happening with technology, with the generational changes of consumers coming through with completely new preferences and different values, it's having a massive impact on our whole food industry. At a macro level, we're seeing things like a huge deterioration in trust. All the way through the system. I mean, it's been obviously a major topic over the past 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, looking at what's going on in the election process, big government institutions, big companies, big banks. And that erosion in consumer trust that we see across all those kinds of large institutions has bled into the food industry. And to be honest, we haven't always helped ourselves. You know, we have a lot of products in the industry with unfamiliar ingredients. You turn the package around, sometimes it's difficult to pronounce what's in there or even understand what these things are. We've had product recalls. We've had confusing claims. You know, what does all natural really mean? What does, you know, fresh from the farm really mean? And so we haven't always helped ourselves. At the same time, we have a new generation of consumers coming through whose buying power is increasing all the time. And these consumers are bringing to the market a very different set of sensibilities and a different set of preferences and a different set of choices. When you look at the food itself, we see consumers who are really looking for food that is nutritious and healthy, as local as possible, really wanting to understand where the ingredients come from, how the products are made, and foods that are fresh and great tasting. And when we think about companies and brands, people want to understand where they're coming from and what do these brands stand for and what do they believe in beyond just the product itself that's being sold. So as we considered who we are, where we are, what's happening out there, we've taken a step back as a company in the last few years and really thought about what we're doing. And really tried to do some thinking about reframing what we are and what we want to do to change our future. So in doing that exercise, we rewound the clock all the way back to the very beginning. This gentleman is Dr. John T. Dorrance. He's the founder, modern founder of our company. This is a guy who invented condensed soup at the turn of the last century. And we went back and looked at what he did and why he did it and how he did it. It was incredibly inspiring for me and all of our associates at the Campbell's Soup Company. What was happening at the turn of the last century is people were moving from the farms and from the countryside into the cities, and the availability of good food was diminishing, and even safe food was diminishing, and affordable food. And Dr. Dorrance invented the production process to condense real mushrooms and tomatoes and so on into a really good product in a can that could be sold for 10 cents each. So he's essentially making, great tasting, good food that was affordable for people to buy. And that really got us thinking. He also had a set of 3 principles that was built into every product that he made. First question that he would ask is, are the ingredients of a grade that we would serve at our own table, to our own family, to our own friends? The second thing he would say is, does the combination of those ingredients appeal to our own sense of sight, smell, and taste? Is this a great product? And thirdly, and also really importantly, is the price within reach of most pocketbooks? And so we looked back at our founder and we said, geez, these things are as relevant today as they were back over 100 years ago when condensed soup was invented. And we looked at that and we said, really, we understand what we're doing when we're coming to work, but why is it that we come to work every day at the Campbell's Soup Company? And what we landed on was this fundamental purpose that wasn't a slogan that we sort of invented as something that we aspired to do. This is something that spoke to who we are and why we show up at work every day. And that was real food that matters for life's moments. I'll talk quite a bit more over my remaining minutes about real food and what we believe in and what we think real food is. That matters is the fact that we do matter. We matter to the consumers that we serve. We matter to the employees that we employ and provide a living to. We matter to the communities that we're in, and we matter to society and the environment and the things that we impact as a company. We also plug into life's moments. Whether it's a goldfish for a young kid going off to school, a bowl of hot chicken noodle soup on a cold day, a Plum Organics baby food product for those first bites, we fit into very special moments right across all consumers in America. So that's our purpose. We show up to deliver real food that matters for life's moments. And as we started to think about that purpose, particularly in our core business here in the United States, we thought about what are we really talking about and how are we going to do that, and what is the challenge that we're stepping up to meet and deliver every day. And that challenge that we're rallying against every day at Campbell's is to make real, great tasting food accessible and affordable for everyone, and profitable for us so we can keep investing back in the business. We believe that there is a problem in America, that the food system has some fundamental challenges, that many American families are not getting the right nutrition that they need, and many American families aren't even getting enough food to eat, and that there's a big challenge out there, and that the only people who can solve those problems are the large companies that operate at a scale that can impact as many consumers as possible. So we really see ourselves as being on a mission to help solve this problem in America of getting Americans enough good food to eat so that they have the nutrition to live healthy lives. Now, starting out with the first aspect of our challenge is the real food itself. And believe me, if you ask the people on either side of you what is real food, you will hear 2 completely different definitions. When we asked a marketing person, a salesperson, and a production person what is real food, we heard 3 completely different answers. So we've put a lot of thought and work into what do we mean as a company when we talk about real food. And these are the 5 aspects that we've landed on and the standard that we hold ourselves to in terms of real food. The first thing is it's something that we would be proud to serve at our own table, to our own families, to our own friends. The second of all is a belief that real food has roots. It doesn't come from a lab, it comes from a farm, it comes from a tree, it comes from the ground. Third of all, it's prepared with care. It's prepared by people who know what they're doing in a safe environment and prepared properly so that it tastes great. Fourth of all, it needs to be accessible to all. We're not doing our job if it can only be afforded by the 1%. We're here to serve all Americans, and it needs to be accessible to all. And fifth, and this is something that Doug touched on a lot as well, is we need to do this all in a very transparent way and a way that builds trust over time. So I want to start with that. We've been on a journey to open ourselves up substantially, to explain to people who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, what goes into our food, why those things go into our food, how we make the food, where it comes from, and we're on a journey to get more and more transparent, and in fact our aim is to be the most transparent food company in the industry. So I'll just hit a couple things that we've been doing in that. We were the first major food company to support mandatory GMO labeling. And not only did we support that, we actually went out and we've done it. So you buy Campbell's Soup Company products now and turn them around. We have a very clear declaration on there about whether or not the product has GMOs. We've done a lot of work in terms of how best to explain this to consumers and why they're in there and so forth. In fact, working with the regulators right now to come up with the most consumer-friendly language possible to explain the presence of GMOs in products. Secondly, we're making major investments to deliver on the real food. And I'll be the first person to tell you that we are far from perfect today. In fact, we have a real food index that we publish which says where we are. And right now, across our portfolio, we're about 80% real. And so we aspire to be 100% real. We're investing about $50 million just in the next 3 years to move that 80% real towards 100. And that is through things like removing BPA from our can liners, removing all artificial colors and flavors from our foods, substantially reducing the use of MSG and high fructose corn syrup. And as we do that, we will continue to publish how we're doing and how we're going. And we do not promise perfection, but we do promise progress. And you'll see that 80% become 85%, 90%, and ultimately 100% someday. The other thing that we're doing is that we develop new products that we're taking to the market. These are 100% real food products that have substantial nutritional benefits. Our newest line of soups, which will be coming to a Walmart store near you in the next couple of months, are called Well Yes. Well Yes soups, in addition to having none of the bad things, are also loaded with vegetables and kale and quinoa and so on, very nutritious. Our new farmers market from Prego, pasta sauces, same thing, very clean foods. So as we launch new products, we're getting more and more real in terms of what we're doing. Now I want to shift gears and talk a little bit about the mission and purpose behind what we're doing and how that manifests itself in some of our companies. One is Plum Organics. Plum Organics is now the leading organic baby food company in America. We bought Plum Organics about a little over 3 years ago. And Neil Grimmer, who is the founder of Plum Organics, is in fact still with our company, came to me several months after we bought them, and he said, we've always been a mission-driven company. And the mission is up there on the screen. We exist to nourish little ones from the very first bite. And we also exist to be a force for good and give back in the community. In fact, we give over 1 million packages of baby food back in a program called The Full Effect into our communities. And what we'd like to do is increase those commitments and be very public and accountable about them. So we want to set up a public benefit company. Now, my legal department had a slight coronary about that idea, but we looked into it and we thought, why not? We'll set Plum Organics up as a public benefit company, and we were the first public food company in America to have a public benefit company in its portfolio. And Plum is off and running, making commitments, and really having a big impact on little ones and society in general. But we didn't stop there, and I want to talk to you. Some of you have spent some time with our Soulful Project people. But we had a group of 4 very passionate Campbell's Soup employees who were working on a project on the main business and looking at how we could connect better with underserved consumers. And they were out doing work with these consumers and meeting consumers, and consumers in some pretty tough situations. And I think one family in particular in Texas that was having a hard go. And it really inspired them. It inspired them to the degree that they wanted to go and leave the Campbell's Soup Company and set up another company that could give back and provide real nutrition and food solutions to people in need. And that's how the Soulful Project was founded. And they came to me and they said they needed some money. And I said, fine, you can have some money. And we launched the Soulful Project, and it's up and running and starting to contribute. It is a public benefit company. The 4 employees that were Campbell employees are now employees of the Soulful Project. It is based in Camden, New Jersey, where the rest of the company is. The food is manufactured in Camden, New Jersey, and we're starting there and building out. And what the concept is this is super nutrition-dense products, starting with these breakfast cereals, that we sell to consumers. And for every unit that we sell, we give one, and not some cheap version of it. We give the exact same product to a food bank that ends up with a consumer in need. So it's a terrific program, and I want to flip and show you a quick video that'll bring it to life.
From a house made of cards on a cliff, I'm praying that there won't be wind. I've been waiting for this. Now I have answers for all the days that I have missed. Every moment away, all the time that it takes, building it brick by brick. I've been waiting for this.
The founders of the Soulful Project are here with us today, so I'd ask Maria and Lisa and Megan and Chip to just stand up quickly. I know some of you have met them. They're right there in the second row. They've also asked me to provide a special marketing message to all of you. You can go on the soulfulproject.org to get involved, or you can go and approach either one of them after this to get involved. But they're trying to start a movement here, and they're looking for all the help that they can get. So that's the web address to go to if you'd like to get involved. So I'd just like to finish by saying thank you very much for having me and us here at the Campbell's Soup Company. Really excited about what you're doing at Net Impact. As Dave said, we've been involved for a while at the Campbell's Soup Company, very supportive of what you're doing, and hope you got something out of what we're trying to do at the Campbell's Soup Company, reinventing a 147-year-old icon. Thank you.